Hello, I'm Ninja Greg, and you're watching The Ninja Greg Show. And I'm going to do something a little bit different for this episode. Well, E3 has come and gone, and we've heard tales of a lot of new games coming out of the woodwork. You know, we recently got ARMS from the Nintendo Switch, Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy for PlayStation 4, both of which have been pretty well received as far as I can tell. And kind of before E3 began, I saw online a couple of videos pertaining to some video games from the past that are going to be making a comeback. And I was a little surprised by the two games that were going to be getting these eventual re-releases. And when I say a video game from the past, I don't mean something like Crash Bandicoot that recently just got a whole HD remaster of its first three games and put together in one package or something like that. No. I'm talking about two games that are universally hated by anyone who's ever played them. First, Bubsy Bobcat. Now, if you've watched either JonTron or The Angry Video Game Nerd, you know that the Bubsy games are, well, they're pretty terrible. You know, the Bubsy was, I just said it, Accolade, the mascot of the video game company Accolade, and their attempt to cash in on the mascot platformer games with a Bobcat that could, supposed to rival the jumping ability of Mario and the speed of Sonic, but yeah, his games were not very, very good. The first two games had, floaty jumping and a camera that would jerk all around when you tried to jump anywhere, and a lot of really bad puns that, while I can appreciate a bad pun, if they're done well, they can be actually funny, but a lot of times with Bubsy, they were just handled poorly and just kind of facepalm worthy. On top of that, there was kind of a tie-in cartoon show with, unfortunately, one of the greatest voice actors around, the legendary Rob Paulsen, providing his voice for Bubsy Bobcat. And if you've seen the cartoon, not likely because it was only a pilot and it never made it past the pilot, but yeah, it's not very funny, and it's just kind of cringe-worthy to watch at its attempts at being funny. So yeah, humor was definitely supposed to be one of the bigger aspects of the Bubsy games, but it's kind of like watching an unfunny comedian who, in his head he thinks he's funny, but he's really not. It's that kind of awkwardness you get from watching somebody like that. It's like, they're trying, but yeah, this is really bad. And then, of course, we had Bubsy 3D on PlayStation, which, of course, had the herky-jerky camera and the same crap jumping mechanics. And on top of that, the game itself did not look very good at all. Nothing was rendered properly. And the camera controls were just atrocious. They were always just like glued to the back of Bubsy, and they didn't track him very well, and the item pickup detection was terrible, so yeah, if you want more info on how bad Bubsy is, I recommend the JonTron video on it. But yeah, Bubsy was not very good, and he's supposed to be making a comeback. Bubsy, the Woolies strike back. Who are the Woolies? I have no idea. But what completely perplexes me is Accolade, after probably about 20 plus years of terrible games, and I'm speaking of the Bubsy game specifically. I don't know if Accolade actually released any other games besides Bubsy that were not as bad. But yeah, Accolade's trying to dust off their old mascot and bring him back. Maybe this next game will actually be halfway decent, because the people at Accolade now probably have all this. They probably have the benefit of foresight, knowing that their previous games were not very good. In fact, they were downright terrible. So maybe with that benefit of what happened in the past, they can at least try to make a decent game. I really don't know. The Bubsy, I mean, I could understand trying to. If there was some good potential, I can understand maybe trying to fix what went wrong. I can words. What went wrong in the past and try and make a decent product, but yeah, I'm not sure if this is going to do very good, because the people who remember playing Bubsy, people like me who are grown adults, we remember how bad Bubsy was, so probably not going to be too keen on picking up a new Bubsy game. And the kids of nowadays, who probably don't know who Bubsy is, they're probably not going to have too much of a reason to care about. They're probably not going to care enough about Bubsy to want to pick up this new game. And if they do know who Bubsy is, they were probably told by their parents that the previous Bubsy games were just complete and utter garbage. So I really don't know. I really don't know why Accolade's deciding to bring Bubsy back after all this time. Maybe to try and garner some measure of success, considering that the mascot platformers have been making a bit of a steady comeback thanks to Yooka-Laylee, the spiritual successor to the very good and highly recommended Banjo-Kazooie games, nuts and bolts notwithstanding. And now the release of the very well received Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. So I'm cautiously optimistic, but I really don't expect much from Bubsy outside of maybe a halfway decent game that's not completely terrible. But yeah, I really don't know what to expect. Anyways, the second bad game from the past that's making a bizarre comeback is Shaq-Fu. Now, for those of you who don't know what Shaq-Fu is, you're lucky. But basically, in the 90s, basketball star Shaquille O'Neal was everywhere. In commercials, playing basketball, obviously, in movies, which were pretty bad. And he even had a short-lived, and I do mean short-lived, rap career. But, yeah. In addition to all of that, Shaq even had a video game. Now, would he appear in a basketball-related game, like maybe some kind of slightly humorous adventure or slightly surreal adventure where Shaq's gotta save the universe by playing basketball, you know, what he's actually good at. Oh no. No, my friends. Shaq-Fu is a fighting game. Let me say that again. Shaq-Fu is a fighting game. Somebody decided to take a basketball player and put him into a martial arts fighting game. Basketball, martial arts, it can work, but again, this one just completely confuses the heck out of me. Like, why would you even bring Shaq-Fu back? I mean, the concept is just bizarre. I mean, with Bubsy, you can understand why they would want to bring it back, considering the recent success of the mascot platformer games. But Shaq-Fu? Why? This game is universally hated, and it's Shaquille O'Neal in a fighting game. What made people back then think it was a good idea? Oh, okay, I know exactly why people thought it would be a good idea. That cash money. But seriously, this is just so strange to me. Why bring back Shaq-Fu of all things? And here's the kicker. The video I saw for it fully acknowledges that Shaq-Fu was complete crap. And this, like with Accolade's Bubsy, well, Bubsy and the Woolies Strike Back, this seems like a genuine attempt to make a previously bad game good. So I really don't know how to feel about Shaq-Fu and Bubsy coming back. I mean, I've never actually played any of the Bubsy games, but like I said, it was thanks to the AGVN and JonTron I became aware of them and found out, oh yeah, these games are not very good at all. So I know through observation that the Bubsy games aren't very good, and I also know, once again, through Angry Video Game Nerd, I knew Shaq-Fu wasn't very good either. But I actually did play Shaq-Fu as a kid, and as an adult, yeah, you know, looking back, I realize it's definitely not one of the best fighting games out there. I mean, this thing probably gets stomped to death by the likes of Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, which, you know, given the choice between those, I'll definitely pick those over Shaq-Fu any day. But I kind of like Shaq-Fu slightly ironically because, you know, I played it as a kid and I thought, you know, I was a dumb little kid. I thought it was actually kind of good. You know, a little bit strange to have a basketball player fighting cat ladies and monsters and such, but yeah, it is a bit of an ironic guilty pleasure, but still, I have to question why. Why bring these games back at all? Why not just let them fade into obscurity? I mean, it's not like you know, we're losing anything valuable. Not like some other game that never really got the following it should have gotten because it was just kind of obscure and a lot of people never really gave it a chance because it got steamrolled by the bigger, more popular games. No, these games were bad. So it's not like they were potentially good games that were never given the proper chance. These were just bad games, period, and they deserve to be forgotten. So I don't know. What do you think? Why would these companies try and bring these games back, knowing now that these games were terrible in their time? I mean, it's 2017. There's really no reason how you can claim ignorance as to how bad these games were back then. So I don't know. What do you think? Why would these companies bring these games back? Anyways, I'm Ninja Greg. You've been watching the Ninja Greg Show. I'll see you next time.